exterminating. Here I go, face my fears, like I'm deep investigating. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending where you are. My name is Crystal Hutchins. I am in Anchorage, Alaska. And for those 5 of you who've been following me for the last 12 or 15 years or so, however long I've been doing this on YouTube, you're wondering why I haven't made a video in so long. This video is going to explain that. Some of you know, if you've been following for a long time, that I used to have a channel with a lot of followers, and I did mostly metaphysical, spiritual, vegan type inspirational videos, and I eventually got to a point where the haters made it not worth doing. And I sabotaged that channel and started over after a break of quite a while, quite a lengthy break. And then coming back to it was, of course, disappointing because I lost a lot of people and I got run over by a lot of people. My little niche was kind of taken over by scores of people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about, but get hundreds of thousands of views for telling lies and stories and untruths, and I just kind of gave up for a long time. Some of you know, because I've talked about poker before, that I'm very passionate about poker. I've been playing poker for my whole life I've been playing poker. Okay. Started as a kid, I played a lot of card games with my dad, so when his poker buddies came over to play, he would let us play if we also brought out our own quarters, nickels, dimes, and pennies. Go get your pennies, he would say, if we wanted to play. That was back in the day before we knew anything about Texas Hold'em. So I discovered Texas Hold'em, I guess, I have to say about 13 years ago, because my son is 13 and he was a baby when I took a job slinging cocktails at a bar that was hosting free Texas Hold'em poker tournaments twice nightly. And I've told that story before, so I'll spare you all the details. Basically, I got sucked into the game of Texas Hold'em, and it was kind of a big deal around town then. There's still a really good poker community here in Alaska, but back then there were like several bars where you could play poker for free nightly. So I became kind of engrossed in the poker scene and got a lot of experience playing at free tournaments, which is kind of a cool way to learn, but also on the other hand, when there's no real money on the table, people act very differently. So you could look at it as not being such a huge way to improve your game. So when I did start finding underground games that did play for money, I started playing cash instead of tournaments. And that's when I found out that I really liked this game, and win or lose, I was just very passionate about it. And I was passionate about getting better at it. And I was passionate mostly about taking the opportunity of playing poker to work on and increase my own intuition, because intuition gives you a huge edge. You know, math is one thing, statistics are one thing. All the catchphrases and ways that people are looking at poker these days, GTO and CTO now, thanks Mike Postel. It's all kind of, in my opinion, it's definitely good to know the math, but if you can get impressions from whatever this is, I think of it as like a radio receiver up to the universe, if you will, where you have access to all the information at all times. But as humans, we've been trained not to think that way. We've been trained to really deal mostly strictly with 3D reality. But that information is there and it's coming in all the time. And if you develop your intuition, what some people might call psychic abilities or whatever you want to call it, it's real. Trust me, it is there. I used to argue with Gavin Smith all the time. He used to play at my game regularly, and we would argue about intuition all the time because he said it isn't real. And his, he would always close the topic with, well, that's why you're never going to be good at poker. Well, it's not that I didn't learn the math. I know the math, I know the statistics, but I don't necessarily base my decisions on math at all times. Because there's luck, which some people call variance. I'm going to tell you a very real truth. And if you don't hear me or don't believe me, that's up to you. But this is a universal law. Poker involves luck. I like to joke around that no matter what situation you're in a poker hand, your percentage of winning is always 50-50. You're going to win or you're going to lose. And on the same note, I like to say that poker is 50% skill and 50% luck. Now, people are going to argue in favor of skill all the time because that's what they want to believe. They truly want to believe that you can get so good at poker that, I'm just going to leave it at, you can't get any better than luck will allow. Like, is it Helmuth who says, if it wasn't for luck, I'd win every time? There is so much luck involved in this game, and if you don't accept that and learn how to deal with it, you're always going to struggle. You're always going to be frustrated. It's one of my pet peeves, people who are really petty at the poker table about how they should have won because they were in such great shape, but they got unlucky. Berating players for getting lucky, berating players for the cards they choose to play. Fuck it, Listen, I make a lot of weird decisions at the poker table. I may look down at a hand that most people would say, oh, this is complete garbage, I would never play it. And in general, I do stick to a kind of tight hand range. But sometimes I look down at some shit hand, like 9-3 offsuit, and I just know it's going to hit. And that's what I call intuition, trusting your gut. And then beyond just that level of intuition, there's other levels of intuition at the table, like being able to read people, being able to tell if you're being bluffed, or to just have a sense or a knowing that you have the better hand, even if it doesn't look like you are about to turn over the winning hand. If you get that feeling that I call the gut feeling, a lot of times I'm going to follow that feeling. Most of the time I'm going to follow that feeling. Sometimes fear wins out. The analytical math mind wins out. But a lot of times if I trust that feeling, it's true. So, I'm just giving you a little bit of my poker resume as I am about to introduce to you my new alter ego, Bananimal, the poker joker, inspired by Joaquin Phoenix's recent turn as the Joker. I thought the movie was fantastic. It delves into mental illness and depression, and the whole concept that just in general the world is kind of becoming total shit. And if you don't have compassion, and if you don't have the ability to, realize what you're doing here on earth more than just this concept of success that everyone is striving for, there's such bigger things. And so these and some other ideologies of mine are what have given birth to the poker joker. Bananimal, just so you know, is the original name that I gave to my record label when I first started performing music. I was a big Ani DeFranco fan, and Ani DeFranco is an independent musician who never signed a record contract, yet became very successful at music and making albums and selling them to an audience that she garnered all on her own without the help of a record label who, when you do sign with them, they take a lot of money. So I was able to have a successful hometown career. Never mainstream, but that's okay. I feel like I kind of lived out my rock star dreams. I had all the experiences on a local level that you would have on a higher level. So I feel like I got that experience and the full, they wrote newspaper articles about me. They invited me to radio stations. They interviewed me on TV. TV channel made a music video for me that they aired regularly, and I performed a lot. There was a time when I was hosting 2 open mics a week and had other performances throughout the week, and I really made a living playing music. So I kind of lived that life all the way through, and then, I wanted kids, and I was getting older, and going that route, I sort of set the whole national mainstream music dream on the back burner. And it's not that I quit. I still write songs. I still pick up my guitar once in a while. It's just kind of, I kind of lived it out, and I don't feel like I have anything to prove. If you scroll back through my videos, you'll find music videos that I've made. You'll find inspirational movies that I've made. I've made several albums. Those are also available. I've written a couple of books. Those are also available. And this is just the next chapter. I've invested so much time into the game of poker. I host games at my house 3 times weekly, so I actually do legitimately now make a living playing poker. I can say that, and I can tell you this. I'm not known as a poker player. I tried streaming for a while, but I hate online poker. Mad respect to the people making a career out of streaming, because you have to do that for a long time with no viewers to actually reach and a level of attention that you can make a living out of it. So I didn't have the tenacity or the patience for that. I don't love online poker because my skill set, as I've mentioned, is mostly in intuition and reading people, and I can't see people that are online. So the whole side of the game that I excel at is removed from online poker. So I also really have a strong desire to tangibly connect with people. And so what I'm doing here by creating this alter ego of Bananimal the Poker Joker, it's a way to continue to inspire people. It's potentially a way to, sorry about this, but put people off their game at the table by the art of distraction. Mostly the Poker Joker is an idea born out of wanting to bring joy and inspiration to people, but also to have fun. I'm 45 years old. I've already mentioned I've done a lot of things in my life. I've made a career out of a lot of weird things. It's not lost on me that I'm extremely blessed and fortunate to play poker for a living, and that I get to travel and meet all different kinds of people because of this game of poker. And I want to give back to people. Bring more joy, bring more fun, bring more inspiration to the game of poker. I think the poker table brings so many kinds of different people together that we could solve a lot of problems at the poker table. And we do. We get into huge conversations at the poker table. We discuss politics, religion, way too much sports, don't care, but a lot of people do. And just many, many, many unusual topics come up at the poker table, and you get to hear all different perspectives on things. But especially what's really daunting right now for a lot of people is depression and mental illness, and that's kind of why the Joker movie was a big part of the inspiration of this. And really quickly, before I do introduce you to Bananimal the Poker Joker, for those of you who have been following me for a long time, some of you know that I wrote a movie for Jim Carrey. And as you might imagine, it's been impossible to contact him. I even had a really fortuitous run-in with Kyle Cease, who I actually wrote a character into the movie for, thinking that potentially I could meet him and give him the script and he could give it to Jim Carrey because they've met and have friends in common. And I kind of thought God broke the fourth wall when he put me and Kyle Cease walking towards each other in the Seattle airport, and I happened to have a copy of the script on a disc, and I thought, oh my God, this is the moment that I was inspired to be set up for. It's gonna happen. And then he never got back to me. But it's okay. I have come up with another idea, so this is something you can look forward to on my channel in the coming year or two. I realized that I could make a version of the script with a Jim Carrey doll, the size of a Barbie doll, so Barbie can play the lead female character. And I don't want to give too much away about the script, but this here is coming from my idea that I've always loved, that ties into everything I'm talking about and why Bananimal is coming into existence. It's a throwback catchphrase from the 12-step program, which I was into for a while in my 20s when I got a couple DUIs in a short amount of time and had to do some 12-step stuff. But I always liked this one saying, which is that we're only as sick as our secrets. And I know that I'm in multiple ways always setting myself up to be in the public eye. Whether it will ever happen or not, I don't know, it doesn't matter. I always thought, well, I'll just write a tell-all book someday and, put all my secrets out there and be free of them. But I don't want anyone to ever beat me to the punch on that. So I'm going to put this out there now that the script that I wrote is loosely based on several events that have taken place in my life, as well as a couple of really vivid, profound dreams that I had. And it kind of all tied into this dream that I had about Jim Carrey. And it involves my experience working as an escort for a couple of years. And so now it's out there. It came out of my own mouth. No one has it on me. I'm only as sick as my secrets. I'm not going to have any. I'm just an open book. So if you do see Bananimal around, just know, I'm a normal person with all the same kind of issues that we can experience as human beings. I have had multiple experiences with mental illness. I can't make this video so long that it's unwatchable, so those are going to be, side videos, side plots to the story, but I deeply empathize with people who are depressed. I personally met and lost my soulmate. So, as I mentioned, I'm 45. I've lived most of what I think has been important to me. I've checked a lot of shit off my bucket list. I don't feel like if I died tomorrow that I would regret or feel like I missed out on anything. So the rest of my time here is just going to be spent. What I've always wanted to do with my life is inspiring other people and bringing joy. Now, am I 100% successful at being a wonderful, compassionate person? No. If you're an asshole to me, I'm probably going to be an asshole to you. I'm not this kind of walk all over me type of person, but I do, have a lot of empathy for people who are suffering because I know what it's like to suffer. I can't really say at the moment that I'm depressed, but I'm just kind of not really that impassioned about life anymore. So I don't have much of a libido anymore. I don't have a strong desire to be in a partnership. I spend most of my time alone and I like it. I never thought I'd say that, but it's true. I think often about my soulmate and meeting him again after I drop the body. I think about other people who have passed, my mom and dad, other family. And I think a lot about the people who are suffering because they're unhappy. And I'm kind of in this place that's just like an even keel because, there's not much really that I am ambitious or passionate about. I also suffer from chronic pain, which I treat with kratom, and it's a double-edged sword. It's a really cool thing that nature has given us. At the same time, it's it's the same as having an opiate dependency. You know, you wake up in the morning sweaty, nose running, in lots of pain, and you have to get that into your system to get your day going. So that's another thing that I struggle with. I empathize with people in chronic pain. I empathize with people who are addicts. I empathize with people who are depressed and have they think they have nothing to live for. But really, honestly, I really just believe that we're here to experience physical reality and learn how to love each other. And that's what Bananimal is going to bring forth to the world. I'm practicing my laugh. So, a lot of my stories are already out there. I'm not a person who's going to be secretive, or I don't have any reason to care what people think of me. What you think of me is none of my business. And I feel like I've rambled on quite a lot longer than I planned on. And so without further ado, we're going to do another practice makeup session for the Poker Joker. So I've got these professional quality face painting makeup kits and glitter. I was doing this goth white makeup, which is, you know, in my day, we listened to The Cure and all those guys, and I was never a goth person myself. I was more like the hippie type of, oh, the word we hated, alternative. It's so alternative. Alternative to what? Shitty music and boring people? So the thing about the goth makeup is that it stays creamy, and I found that I'm practicing with stencils, and so when I would put the goth makeup on, even with powder on top, the stencils didn't want to stick. But the white face paint, it actually dries to kind of a flat, you know, all these paints, they dry so that they won't smear. This is really interesting, weird stuff. The other thing too is that I've barely used makeup at all for like the last 15 years. Being a very health conscious, spiritual type person, I was always trying to, you know, keep all toxic shit out of my life, using only mineral makeups and vegan friendly makeups. And just for the record, with the use of deciding, you know, you have to make a decision. My decision was to minimize my pain as much as possible, to live the best life possible. I tried for years and years and years to do everything very health consciously and detoxify, but there was always this underlying level of pain I couldn't reconcile. It's because I've fallen really hard on my hip a couple times, and it's turned inward, and it pulls on all my lower back muscles. So in between my lower back and my hip, some days it'll just feel like there's a knife there. So I made a decision to treat the symptom instead of try to keep trying to figure out the cure. I mean, I'm telling you, I went to chiropractors, I went to acupuncturist, I've tried every herb and supplement on the market, yoga. I even went to a really profound, well-known energy healer in LA, made a whole trip out of it, and I just can't cure this hip. And so that's been my decision, to deal with the side effects of treating it by covering up the symptoms. So the whole ramble I just gave you, the lead up to that, is that I basically, because the kratom fucks up your body so bad, it really impairs the processes of the liver and the kidneys and leaves you with, you know, more issues on top of the issues you already have. So now I have a lot of gout symptoms. The uric acid builds up in my joints, and on the side that my hip is fucked up, the uric acid is so built up in my foot that if I even bend over too far, it stretches the muscle in my foot, and I feel like the Little Mermaid after she got her feet and had to walk on swords. So here we go. I'm going to start my makeup. This whole preamble was just to tell you that I basically don't even think about what I'm eating anymore, because I'm past the point of really caring about being alive and just trying to navigate the daily life that I do have to live. So that's that. I'm not a vegan anymore. And you know, another thing is I spent maybe somewhere between 8 and 10 years making a living out of preparing and promoting raw vegan diet. And that was a huge part of my life. That was another long, interesting experience that I have. I've learned so much about how food and toxicity and everything impacts the body, and how we're killing ourselves and how we're poisoning ourselves and the earth. And the plain truth is just, I don't really care anymore. I choose to cover up those symptoms and live the best life I possibly can every day and enjoy it to my ability, because there's nothing really left here for me. You know, my soulmate's already gone. I do have a couple poker list bucket items. I'm going to do one of them in November. See, I've played some interesting big events. I have a couple caches on my Hinden Mob. If I was living somewhere where I didn't have to travel to play tournaments all the time, I think I'd have kind of a cooler resume. But as it is, if I want to play a tournament that qualifies for a public record, I have to fly somewhere. So I've done some cool things. Last year I min cashed in the Moneymaker event at Run It Up Reno. I also was trying to work on a reality show based around, you know, being a low-level, making a living playing poker, but not as a famous person. My friend that was helping me got busy or decided it wasn't worth it, I don't know. So that went by the wayside, and moving right along here comes Bananimal the poker joker to maybe, hopefully, create a little platform of inspiration. And I'm fully well aware that I'm walking into the Lion's Cave poker players. The poker playing online community is ruthless in what they think of people. You know, how dare someone get any attention for playing poker that they don't deserve, which is another reason I'm filling you guys all in on who I am, where I'm coming from. It's basically, if I do start getting attention as the poker joker, it's gonna look like I came out of nowhere with this gimmick. It is kind of, it's a gimmick, but it's not as self-motivated as you might think. It's really just like, I have nothing left to do here on Earth than try to bring joy into other people's lives. And I know there's going to be a lot of naysayers and haters who won't believe that, but the truth is, I already have my 2 beautiful, talented, incredible, amazing children. I've already met and lost my soulmate. I've had a music career, a health career, I have traveled to the places I wanted to see, a lot of them. I have nothing left to do but see more places, so that's still open. But I swam with dolphins, which was #1 on my bucket list, and there's just not much left that I really care about doing. So whether you believe it or not, the only intention I have here is to inspire people to be joyful, be compassionate. Everyone's suffering in some way or another. There's no reason to bring more hate and animosity into the world, you know? I don't judge anyone for anything that they do. It's not my job to judge people. And it's also not my job to care what judgments people make of me. So if you are going to judge me, you're gonna be on your own there. I'm not getting involved with you on what you think of me. My only job here on Earth is to love people to the best of my ability, even when they're shitty. And there sure are a lot of shitty people out there. There's a lot of good people too, and I see good things all the time. You know, one thing I do for myself, I do this for myself just so you don't think I'm bragging. But one of the things I found out is that I really get a huge emotional kick out of doing nice things for people. So, every week, instead of throwing away the food that I wouldn't eat, instead of waiting for the food to go bad and throwing it away, once a week, I gather up everything that could potentially go bad before I have a chance to get to it, and I go give it to someone on a street corner, and I get a kick out of that, you know? I do. I feel it deeply in my soul that it's just a good thing to do. And I feel it deeply within my soul that the poker joker is just a good thing to do. It takes a long time and it's painstaking, and I'm sorry I'm not looking at you anymore because I'm looking in the mirror. And this is going to get boring, so some of it is probably going to be sped up in fast motion. So I don't need to paint my eyes because I'm always going to be wearing sunglasses at the poker table. I know some people don't like that. Some of us want to hide our face, but there's almost nothing you can do about body responses that are of the autonomic, I don't know the word I want, but the nervous system connected to the kidneys and the adrenals and the ways that your pupils expand and react, they're physically out of my control at most times. So I do think it's possible to learn to control those things, but I haven't. And after 12 years of playing poker, I still get that adrenaline rush when I'm in a big hand. And it doesn't matter if I'm gonna win or lose, if I'm bluffing or if I have the nuts, the body reacts the same and it kicks out all this adrenaline, and those are things that I can't control. So the one thing I can control is covering my eyes so that if there's something I do that gives away information in my eyes, you won't be able to see that. So if you've spent years learning how to read people's eyes, then I can protect myself from that by covering up my eyes. And if you want to argue about that, well, I just don't care. Bananimal is not going to be like the Joker with the same face painting every time. I always want people to have something new and interesting to see. So every time I'm painting my face, I'm taking pictures for Instagram. So if you want to see all the different versions of the poker joker, you can follow me on Instagram. There's a link in the description section of this video. The topics they were attempting to present, you know, even though the Joker becomes a murderous villain, you can see that his intentions are to bring joy. And when that didn't work, you know, when he gets shat on and spit out by society and goes to the dark side, that's just an element of the story that it's not that wasn't the, that I can't talk. I can't. There's it. It's an interesting element to the story, but underneath it is the awareness that, well, for one thing, you know how debilitating it is if you've ever suffered from depression. And it's, or if you've ever experienced being a social outcast, like I have, if you've dealt with mental illness, like I have, you can relate to a lot of the story, but still be able to separate out doing something positive about it. So I guess what I'm trying to say is the Joker's character, the underlying truths that he was experiencing that resulted in going towards the dark, you could be experiencing those same underlying truths and go towards the light and become more compassionate, inspirational, and loving and empathic to people. You know, even in my music career, my favorite part would be telling jokes between songs and making people laugh. But stand-up, I have mad respect for people who do stand-up, because I can't create my jokes are too spontaneous. They don't do well when I try to write them and repeat them. I'm more of an improv comedian, so I hope that this will be another way for me to bring up my comedic side for people to get joy from. Gosh, I don't really want to paint this stuff on my lips, but I'm right around the lip area and it doesn't look good, so I do kind of need to go over my lips a little bit more on the outside. Okay, it's not perfect, but it doesn't have to be perfect. That's layer white. And now I need to decide what to do next. While this dries. Okay, phase 2 is stenciling.
Do you always whisper? Is that your tranquility? Do you always whisper? Give your words mobility. Go out screaming at the sun. Go out yelling at everyone. Do not stop until you're done. And they have pulled me from the ground. You'll hear me in surround sound. sit here and cry, but I am floating off with you. I am floating off with you, and I'm gonna scream at the sun, gonna yell at everyone like.
You gotta just keep failing. Gotta keep practicing and failing to get good at something you want to get good at. Looking through stencils here. Now, I have a lot of unicorns. You will see me in a lot of unicorns. Butterflies. Guess I'm gonna play around with some stencils in bright colors. And see if I can fix the top with glitter when I'm done. The problem is the sticky part is going to take off some white, but if you don't press it down enough, then you get bleed through. So it's very tricky.
In my mother's and my father's face of tyranny. Here I go, face my fears, the kind they've investigating. No wonder what's no ludicrous between you and me. I believe in things that I cannot even see. You believe in myths perpetuated by humanity. She could come down and shake a fellow rock star's hand, but so I sit to top the cold and heavy lands. No wonder how you base your thoughts of me instead. On sentence they printed that I said, as this town goes straight to your head. I hold myself in my tightly.
So the pajamas are a throwback to my musician days. When I had a band, I would always wear pajamas. It was my thing. Just seems like the perfect thing to bring back around in the whole poker Joker costume concept, with the Joker wearing these brightly colored suits. I love being comfortable when I'm playing poker, so pajamas are the perfect thing. Let's see what happens. See how much white it took off? Ugh. Sad. But it does make a nice stencil when it sticks down. I gotta figure out what to do about the white patches. I don't really want to color them back in with white. The white is just to make the stencil stand out. Isn't that nice? And then if I fill in the white with other colors and glitter and shape these with glitter, we got something going on, you know what I'm saying?
I hold myself in my tightly gripping hands till my own face is not where I can stand. It's like that thing I said is like that thing you do. A myth for me is a myth for you, is a myth for me, is a myth for you. Same bright shining star. We are a star. We are a star. My little hometown star.
It's not too bad. It's not the best, but you know, when you see me in public, you'll know what I've gone through to create this look for you. And I truly believe that all of us, at our core, just want to be happy. And we've been sold this lie of success. It's an illusion, and it's not going to make you happy. The only way to be a success is a daily process. Are you happy today? You're a success. Alright, here's what I'm going to do. For the white issue. It looks like spreckles already, so I'm just going to turn it into...
If I have been
Alrighty, and a complete look is to let the hair down, put the shades on, full pajama suit. If you see me out there in all this shit on my face, you know what I went through. You know I did it to bring a joy, a smile to your face, a little extra inspiration to find your creative voice, do something with it. Spread love, spread joy, spread happiness. I'm the poker joker. I'll see you out there. So, this is stencil practice number 2. This is the second time I've ever worked with stencils. The whole concept behind the poker joker is that the makeup will always be a little different so that people have something to look forward to when they see her. It's not the same every time. And, you know, the main intention is to bring joy and inspiration and fun and maybe a little distraction to the poker table. So I am checking out stencils. I am trying all different types of glitter and makeup and body paint and different stencils, different concepts, different creative expressions. And, well, I think for only having put on stencils twice ever in my life, and now mind you, I haven't really worn any kind of significant makeup whatsoever in 10, 15 years. And so to go from almost nothing, you know, like basic bare minerals foundation and lip gloss, to full-on face painting is, I think I'm doing pretty good. And I think I can only get better. Just another awesome creative outlet for someone who is creative and loves the game of poker, the art of distraction, and, you know, just bringing a little joy to people's lives. Why not? Why not? So now you know who Bananimal is, the woman behind the curtain, so to speak. And if I've left you with any questions about my intentions or philosophies, please feel free to comment with your questions. No need to tell me I'm brave or virtuous. I'm none of those things. I'm just a human being who believes the world is lacking in joy and happiness and could use a little more light and brightness. And if we could all be honest with ourselves and each other, what a different place this world would be. I'll see you out there. Thumbs up if you watched this whole video and you want to see more of the poker joker. Thumbs down if you eat baby shit as part of a nutritionally sound breakfast.